TMC Life Sciences Berhad. What is actually TMC? TMC stands for Tropicana Medical Center. It is also known as an investment holding company in Malaysia. It is represented by Professor Emeritus Dato Dr. Khalid bin Abdul Qadir. With all the expertises, TMC Life Sciences Berhad has listed on main market of Bursa Malaysia since 2005. Other than that, TMC Life Sciences Berhad also known as one of the fastest growing healthcare groups in Malaysia. TMC Life Sciences Berhad has aimed to be an integrated health system in choice, delivering quality and value-based care to their customers or patients. TMC Life Sciences Berhad has a few businesses. There are Thomson Hospital Kota Damansara, Thomson TCM, Thomson Iskandar, TMC Fertility, and TMC Care Pharmacy. Their first business are Thomson Hospital Kota Damansara. Thomson Hospital Kota Damansara has established in 2008 and located at Kota Damansara, Selangor. The next one is Thomson Iskandar Medical Hub, where it is located at Causeway linking Johor and Singapore. It is most well of medical, allied health and nursing training. The third one of their businesses, TMC Fertility. TMC Fertility has established in January 1994. It is located at Damansara Utama, Selangor. TMC Fertility has provided IVF services for married couple that want to achieve their dreams of parenthood for more than 20 years. Their fourth business are TMC Care Pharmacy. TMC Care Pharmacy has established on July 2016 and launched on 10 December 2016. It is located at Vintage Bay in Johor Bahru. It has established a strong presence in e-commerce. The last one is Thomson TCM. Thomson TCM has launched on 1st November 2018. It is managed by their team that has certified and highly experienced physicians. It is also provide the perfect ambience to their services and facilities. TMC Life Sciences Berhad has achieved a lot of awards, such as Global Health Award in 2018, Women's Health and Wellness Service Provider of the Year in 2019, Best Practice Award in 2017, Enterprise Provide Service of the Year Award in 2019, and the most meaningful award that TMC achieved are TMC Life Sciences Berhad has listed on Malaysian Books of Record. So no wonder, right, why TMC Life Sciences Berhad has stand on the same level with the other great company and hospital in Malaysia because of their organization, their management, and of course the most important of their financial management.
Alright, first of all, I would like to give a definition about the liquidity ratio. As everyone knows, that liquidity ratios is measure the extent to which a firm has adequate cash flow or liquid asset to meet the short-term liabilities, which is debt. The firm means its ability to meet maturing debt obligation. So, when we look into the analysis of the current ratio, the firm shows that the current ratio in year 2020 is 2.6 times, while in 2019 is 3.56 times. So the firm ratio shows that 2019 is larger than 2020. This indicates that the firm is able to pay its short-term debt 3.56 times in year 2019 compared to the 2.66 times in year of 2020. So, the second part in liquidity ratios is the acid-taste ratio. What means of the acid-taste ratio? Okay, so the acid-taste ratio, also known as the quick ratio, which is a financial measure of a company ability to pay off its current liabilities. So when we're looking back to the analysis of the ratio for the acid-taste ratio, the analysis told that the firm acid-taste ratio in 2020 is 2.49 times, while in the previous year, which is 2019, is 3.39 times. So the firm ratio in 2019 is larger than 2020. This shows that the firm is able to pay its short-term debt 3.39 times in year of 2019 compared to the 2.49 in year 2020.
So next is we're gonna talk about activity ratio. Activity ratio is to see how efficient the firm in using and managing their asset to generate sales. In activity ratio, we need three, which is average collection period, inventory turnover, and total asset turnover. So we're gonna choose average collection period first. The average collection period, as the name indicates, is a calculation of the average number of days between the date a sale is made on credit and the date that the buyer submit the payment, or the date that company receive the payment from the buyer. Okay, so here is comparison average collection period between 2020 and 2019. This is for TMC Life Science Berhad average collection period. So we can see on 2020, TMC Life Science Berhad is taking about 61.6 days to collect it, while on 2019 is taking 63.6 days to collect it receivable. So we can see on 2020 is more faster than 2019. Is because it indicates the efficiency of the collection process, and the lower it is, the shorter the cash cycle of the business is, which has a positive impact on its profitability. Second is we're gonna drop inventory turnover. In accounting, the inventory turnover is a measure of the number of times inventory is sold or used in a time period such as a year. It is calculated to see if a business has an extensive inventory in comparison to its sales levels. So here is comparison between on 2020 and 2019, which is on 2020 the inventory of the firms turned about 4.3 times, while on 2019 the inventory is turned about 5.3 times. So we can see on 2019 is more quicker than 2020. Is this because why 2019 is more quicker than 2020? Because the quicker your inventory turnover, the lower the risk of deterioration, particularly in the case of perishable products or items with a higher risk of obsolescence. High turnover is often interpreted as an indicator of strong sales, suggesting greater profitability and return on investment. The last on activity ratio is total asset turnover. Total asset turnover is a financial ratio that measures the efficiency of a company use of its asset and generating sales revenue or sales income to the company. Okay, so we can see On 2020, TMC Life Science Berhad turned over total assets 6.19 times in a year, while on 2019, the firm's total assets 4.35 times in a year. So on 2020, more better than 2019. It because the higher the better. A higher number indicates that you are using your asset efficiently. For instance, an asset turnover ratio of 1.4, which it means you are generating 1 ringgit 40 cents of sales for every ringgit of assets your business has.
Next is leverage ratio. What is leverage ratio? Okay, leverage ratio is an investigate on how a firm is being financed and provides indicators as to the extent a firm is able to meet the interest payment. Below the leverage ratio, there are 3 things, namely debt ratio, long-term debt ratio, and time interest earned. For debt ratio, 2019 is the best year where the value of the debt ratio is 10.70%, because if the debt ratio is low, the financial risk of the firm is small. For the long-term debt ratio, as we know, the greater the ratio value, the greater debt owned by the firm. This means that in 2020, 11.41% the firm's obligation that must be fulfilled to other parties. For time interest earned, creditors will prefer a firm with a higher times interest earned ratio because it shows the firm is able to pay its interest expense at maturity. Firms that have a high times interest earned ratio have a lower credit risk. So 2019 is much better, which is 447.8 times. Now we move to profitability ratio, which the ability of firm management to generate adequate profit from use of firm's capital and assets. It determines an answer of whether the firm is making the profit with reference to its expenses and costs during a specific period of time. Below the profitability ratio, there are 5 things, namely gross profit margin, operating profit margin, net profit margin, return of equity, and lastly, return on assets. In 2019, TMC Life Science Berhad amounted 17.57% gross profit, which is better for operating condition, managing the operation. For net profit margin, 19.57% is greater amount in 2019, and it much better for the operation of firm. Next, for the return of equity ratio, the greater ratio is amounted to 2.74% in 2019. And lastly, the return on asset in 2020, the amount is 1.40%, which is lower and less good for the firm.
Overall, in terms of liquidity ratio, we could say that TMC Life Sciences Berhad are liquid to pay their current liabilities based on the calculation that have made on current ratio and acid test ratio. Next, for the activity ratio, in year 2020, TMC Life Sciences Berhad take a short period to collect their receivable compared to 2019. This can be proved by calculation that have been made of average collection period, inventory turnover, and sales. Other than that, for the leverage ratio, it is liquid in 2019 because TMC Life Sciences Berhad provide a small amount of interest payment compared to 2020 based on calculation of debt ratio, long-term debt ratio, and time interest in. Lastly, for profitability ratio, TMC Life Science Berhad are most better in 2019 compared to 2020 based on the calculation of net profit margin, gross profit margin, operating profit margin, return on equity, and return on asset have been made. I think that's all from my group. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.